What's up, guys? Justin here with TheSketchUpEssentials.com. So in today's video, we're going to check out two of the best extensions for randomizing things in SketchUp. Let's go ahead and just jump into it. All right, so remember, this is a part of my series on the best architectural extensions for SketchUp in 2026. If you want to see all of the videos, including tutorials, links to the extensions, and other resources, you can check that out for free at TheSketchUpEssentials.com/architecture extensions. Okay, and so I broke this up into two different tools because these tools are good for different things. So Random Tools is a free tool from Alex Schreier that you can download from the SketchUp extension warehouse, and it's great for doing a lot of different things, but it's really good for like moving your geometry around. You can use it to place objects randomly on faces, though in the second half of this video we're going to talk about a tool that's way better for that kind of thing. It just does a lot of different randomizations. And so the way this tool works is when you load it up, you're going to have options in here for a lot of different things, right? The first half of this, or the first couple, randomize things about your model, and then the second half is more for like doing randomizing things. So like the placement of things like that. And so first off, we've got a tool for random push-pull. And what you can do is you can select a face, you can open up this window, and then you can click on yes right here. And what that's going to do is that's going to randomly push-pull the surface that you have selected right here. So this is really good for like general randomization. And so you do also have an option for create new faces, yes or no. If you select yes, then this will create faces on the back side. If you say no, then it'll push-pull this up, but your original faces won't be there anymore. But you can do things like setting a negative value in here as well. So you can set the overall randomizations. And so one thing to notice about this is if you have a face that's triangulated, right? So like something that was created with sandbox tools, for example, if it's a triangulated face, each one of those individual faces is going to get push-pulled. So that is something to kind of be aware of, is just make sure you're clear on the underlying geometry of the object you're push-pulling. And so one place where this could get really valuable is if you have a whole bunch of faces like this, right here. I'm going to make sure I only have these faces selected, but if you wanted to add some randomness to these faces, you could select these and then run this tool like so, and you could add a little bit of randomization at the end right here. Now in this case, I don't think if we were to select the option for create new faces, no, yeah. So if you use the create new faces, no, notice what that's going to do is that's going to push-pull these in place so that you don't have that kind of like leftover border around here. So if you want to add some quick randomization like this, that's an easy way to do that. Now, next up, we've got a tool that allows you to randomize vertices. And so what the vertex tool is going to do is it's going to randomize the position of the vertices that you have in here. And you can set the distance that this will happen randomly in any direction. So like, for example, if I did 1 foot on all of these right here, that's going to randomly move those around like this. Now, one thing to be aware of, though, is you do need supporting geometry in here in order for this to do anything effective. So like, for example, if I try to use this tool, and we're just going to set this on the blue axis right here, notice how it can only move these 4 points, right, the vertices of the object. But if you have something like this surface created with sandbox tools, or if you were to like subdivide this, so if I was to take this object, right, and split it up like so. So if I use the move tool in copy mode in order to split it up, then it's going to have a lot more supporting geometry, and you can use this in order to randomize the up and down direction. Now, using something like a mesh created with sandbox tools can also be extremely valuable for this kind of thing. But this is going to give you the ability, and I'm just going to say maybe like 6 inches right here, but you can use this in order to add kind of like ups and downs on surfaces and things like that to not make them completely flat. Now, this does have tools for random placement of objects. And so if you select a surface and then an object and you use this random placement, it's going to give you the ability to randomly place things on faces. So if you need something that does this very simply, this is a great tool for that. If you need something more complex, we're going to look at something a little bit later. But say we were to bump this up right here, notice how you can add things for like scale variation factors and things like that. And that's going to randomly place objects on surfaces. Now you can also do that with things like edges. So if you wanted to randomly place things on edges, this is going to give you the ability to do that. Note that this is going to place the objects on edges based on wherever the object origin is. So if you wanted this centered on the edges, you'd want to make sure that your object origin was in the middle of this object. But that can be really helpful for doing things like placing objects along paths. But you could also do that with vertices, right? So like if I take an ungrouped edge like so, and then take these objects and then use the vertex placement, what that's going to do is that's going to randomly place this along the vertex object like so. And again, remember that this is going to place these based on where the object origin is. So if you want these to be centered on an object, you want to make sure that you place that object origin in the middle of the object, right? So notice how this one has it kind of off to the side. This one has it right in the middle. If I just select the one in the middle and I select the edge like this, and then I activate this tool, these are going to be more like centered on this edge right here. So again, if you want to randomly place on vertices, you can do that. And then you also have the ability to do things like randomly rotating and scaling. So you can also randomly swap objects. But in this case, if I was to take all of these objects that were in here, do a Control A, and then do the random rotation and scale. Notice how I have the option to set if it moves their position, if it sets their scale, and it sets the rotation variation. So if I run this, this is going to randomly rotate and scale those objects. Now you do also have the ability in here to randomly swap objects. So I'm just going to slide this off to the side and this off to the side, and I'm going to move this out of this group and do an edit, paste in place. And I'll go ahead and I'll explode this group, but I have these all selected like so. Then I'm going to select this object and I'm going to do a random swap. And so what that's going to do is that's going to randomly swap out this object. Now notice how it's not changing the count in here. So if I wanted more of those, what I would do is I would just create more copies like so. And then I'd select the whole thing like this. And then if we randomly swap, notice how it's going to randomly swap out those objects in here like this. So if you're trying to add variation, this is an interesting way to do that. The last tool is really interesting to me because if you've ever tried to create like a deck or something like that, the problem with this is that all of these textures get applied to this object in exactly the same place. Well, this last tool gives you the ability to randomly set your texture positions on a group right here. So notice how if I select this right here, it's randomizing that position so that you don't get that repetition. So I use that all the time for things like decks. So notice how that's going to work on either one of these objects regardless of the orientation. And it's really good for like breaking up those repeating textures, things like that. So this is a great tool if you need just like simple, free randomization. However, if you need something more complex, I highly recommend the extension Skatter. And so what Skatter is it's a paid tool that's like super, super powerful for like complex scattering, right? So not only is it designed to allow you to really control where things are placed in your model, so you can like paint places that things should go. You can paint areas where objects should be excluded. There's a ton of tools in it for randomization, but it also has the ability to do proxies for your render program. So it'll put lightweight objects in your SketchUp viewport, and then they'll come over they'll come over full power or full geometry inside of your rendering program. And so I know it directly integrates with Inkscape, V-Ray, and TheaRender. I can't remember if it integrates with others, but it has that render only mode where it only sends the geometry to your render engine, not inside of SketchUp itself, which can really help your performance. And so this one is super powerful, but you can get it for 99 euros a year. And it does a lot more. One of the cool things is it supports the ability to use lower detailed models the further they get away from your camera in order to improve performance. But the way this works is you pop up the scatter window, and what this does is this gives you the ability to create a composition. And so when you pop up your window, basically what happens is you set a host or a thing that you want to scatter on. So in this case, we're just going to select this surface right here. Notice how it shows you a preview of where the objects are going to be scattered. And then you can adjust like the number of things that would be placed on the surface. But then you can also select the objects that you want to be scattered. So if I click in here, right, and I select a couple of these objects right here, notice how it's showing me that each one of these is going to be scattered in here, and it's showing them in a different color, which you can see right here. But then we can adjust things like the density. So we can bring it down to like 0.5 or something like that, or back up to like 0.35. And then you also have the ability to set the transformation. So you can set if they're randomly scaled, if they're randomly rotated, if they're randomly translated as well. So you can do a lot of that. Notice how this is kind of giving us a jitter right here because these have an XY of just a little bit. You don't have to show that if you don't want to. But then when you're done and you want to be a little bit careful of this, you can click on generate like so, and that's going to generate that in this model. Now, the cool thing about this is in the model as a composition, right? So if you go into the composition manager, you can select this, right? So if I click off of this and then I pick this composition and click on edit, I can actually adjust this. So say it's got too many things in here, for example. So we could bring this down to like 0.0025 or whatever. You can adjust those. So they're like parametric in the sense that you can actually go in and adjust them later. Now, I can't talk about everything that's in this tool because there's so many things in this tool. I mean, I could do probably an hour or 2 hour long presentation just on this tool, but I do want to show you some of the other cool features. So say, for example, that you've got a surface like this one and you want to place some trees. Well, in the real world, right, we're going to create a new composition. So I'm going to open my composition manager, click on the plus button right here. I'll go ahead and close out the old one. So what we can do is we're going to take this composition, we're going to set this surface as the surface we're going to scatter on, and then this tree, or maybe a pair of trees, as the thing that we're going to place, right? And we'll go ahead and bump this up because these are 2D. So because these are 2D, it's going to be really lightweight. Like this. Well, notice what'll happen is right now it's randomly placing in here based on just the overall surface. But the thing is, if you have like cliffs and things like that, you don't really have trees that grow on these steep surfaces. Well, one of the cool things about this tool is it gives you the ability to filter by things like boundaries or slope. And so in this case, I want to filter by slope because I don't want to place trees on the like really steep areas because that wouldn't look right. So I'm going to click on slope right here, and then you can adjust this down. You can bring your max slope down. Well, notice how when I'm doing that, it's removing trees from surfaces. So I don't want this to place trees on anything over a 45-degree angle, right? Well, notice what that's done is that's filtered out basically, except for maybe this one right here. It's filtered out all of the trees that were on the steep surfaces, and it's only going to place the trees on surfaces that are actually fairly flat, like this. So you also have the ability to filter by altitude. So if I didn't want the altitude at the bottom, right, if I only wanted them on the top of this, what I could do is I could adjust this so that the bottom is a little bit higher. Well, notice how when I set that a little bit higher, right, we'll maybe set this to 12 inches or something like that. Well, notice what that's done is that's basically filtered out all of the low trees and only left the high trees in here. So this has like powerful filtering functions built into it. Now, I'm not going to show this, but you do have the ability to enter render only mode. So what render only mode is going to do, and I guess I can click on generate right here, is this is going to set this composition up where it only shows up in a rendering engine, not in your 3D space. And so where that can be really powerful is if you're scattering a whole bunch of heavy things, so like plants or things like that, this gives you the ability to only make those show up in your render mode right here. So from that standpoint, it's super powerful. The other thing I really love about this tool is it gives you the ability to filter where things go. So in this case, say that I was to select, we're going to create a new composition in our composition manager, and then we're going to select this surface as a host. We're going to go ahead and we're going to bump up scattering like so, and I'm going to select the tree, right? So what that's going to do is that's going to place the tree in this space. So right now when I generate this, the problem is it's placing trees like all around this house right here, which we don't want. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in and we're going to apply a mask. And so that mask is going to allow us to set either where something is included or where it's excluded. So we can bring the mask size up like this. Actually, let's bring it down just so you can see me paint on the surface. But when I click on done, I can set this mask to be either an include or exclude area. So let's say we wanted this to be an include area. What that would do is when I paint in here, notice how it's going to set this where it only places the trees where I paint right here. And so if I clicked on regenerate over here, notice what that's done is that's removed all of the trees kind of on the back side of this house here. Now, alternatively, we could do it the other way, and we could set this mask to be an exclude area. So if I click on exclude, now what's going to happen is if I paint this, it's going to exclude the trees anywhere that I paint on this surface. So I can just set like, okay, I don't want to add trees around this house, like so. Then I can click on generate. Okay, so another cool thing this can do is it also has the ability to check for collisions. And so what that means is if I toggle collisions on, like so, what it's going to do is it's going to go through and it's going to check for where these objects are colliding, right? So notice how I have like 3 objects on top of each other. Well, if I toggle collisions on, it's going to find all of those collisions. It's going to regenerate this so these objects don't overlap. Now, it's not perfect. Like you can see how we've still got a little bit of an overlap right here in the middle, but most of the collisions and overlaps were removed in here. So if I bump this up even more to maybe like 150% or something like that, notice how it filters all of those out. So you can set if you want it to check for collisions in here as well. And so once you kind of understand the way this whole thing works, this gets really powerful, right? Because you can take like multiple different objects. I'm going to add a new composition in here. We'll set this as a host. And I'm going to go ahead, before I even do anything with this, I'm going to add a mask. Here we're going to pick a paint mask right here. You could also, by the way, pick an entity or an image or other compositions. In this case, we're just going to go with paint again, but I'm just going to paint this surface right here, right? So that's going to set where my objects can go. And then once I do that, I'm going to select a couple of these objects. And I'm also going to add a couple 3D objects in here, like this. And we're going to bump this up. And you can generate a bunch of these in here if you want. I can add trees over here, and then I could add rocks and plants over here. I'm using this as kind of a scatter function. If I ever don't like the way that this is interacting in here, we can just erase part of the paint mask, like so. And then if I rerun this, notice how those objects are going to be away from the house now. So what that does is this gives you a lot of fine control over the randomization of objects in your model. All right, so that's where I'm going to end this video. Leave a comment below. Let me know if you're using either one of these tools. I just love having those conversations with you guys. If you do want the full guide, including full tutorials and links to the extensions, you can get that at TheSketchUpEssentials.com/architecture-extensions. But as always, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks, guys.